In today's news, John Samuel, appointed Director of VI Shipping Registry and Education Minister, receives additional donation for music program.
As well as the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force seeks public assistance in locating missing man by the name of Junior Peters. All this and so much more when 284 News returns.
There's a reason you get up on a morning. A reason you pick yourself up, start the day. Maybe it's sheer grit. Maybe it's your ethics. Maybe it's because you know people like you are waiting for people just like you. We all have our reasons, and for Republic Bank, that reason is you. Every little thing, every big thing. It's all about making a difference in your life. Because after 182 years, if it's one thing we're sure about, is that the difference is you. We're here to help.
Republic Bank, we're the one for you.
Welcome everybody. It's Friday, July 3rd, 2020, a fantastic day coming out of the British Virgin Islands. I'm Ron Grant.
And I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes. Very happy that it's Friday,
As
Ron.
always, and happy to be bringing the people local updates, regionally, of course, locally and internationally. We have a lot to get into, so we're going to begin on the local scene. Maples BVI has donated an additional $12,500 to the Ministry of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Agriculture to go towards the Elmore Stout High School's music program. Minister of Education, Culture, Youth Affairs, Fisheries, and Agriculture, Dr. the Honorable Natalio D. Wheatley, thanked Maples for their contribution, which will be used to purchase new music instruments for the secondary school students of the Elmore Stout High School. Now, this contribution is the second donation that Maples BVI has made towards the ESHS music program through the Recovery and Development Agency. Chief Executive Officer of the RDA, that's the Acting Chief Executive Officer, Mr. Anthony McMaster, said, and I quote, "I am grateful that both the private and public sectors could work together for the benefit of the future of this territory." He continued by saying, as a community partner, Maples BVI previously donated $100,000 to the ESHS music program, which was used to build the music classroom and purchase musical instruments. Now, Managing Director and partner of Maples, Mr. Richard May, said that he is pleased to make the donation and thanked the RDA for identifying and facilitating a need in the community. Currently, the music program is housed in a temporary structure on campus that was constructed through the RDA as part of its rebuilding mandate after the hurricanes of 2017. The temporary structure was also a public and private partnership with Unite BVI and BVI Alliance. Now, Unite BVI also contributed an additional $4,200 for the music instruments. The RDA was established, of course, in April of 2018 to collaborate with the government of the Virgin Islands, private sector, and public and civil society to best address the urgent needs of the territory as a result of the natural disasters of 2017. Kyla, I'm so happy to see more contributions coming in from Maples, and we hope that more would come in from others. But let's just reiterate for a second how important the music program at the Elmore Stout High School is. I was a member of choir, not in the band, but so many students passed
so
through
much
that.
talent.
And it was a stepping stone for many of us who were interested in the arts. And I think it's phenomenal to see community partnership come together to make sure that that program continues.
If anyone have ever attended Elmore Stout High School program
spring
or
concert, Christmas concert,
they would know how important such contributions are going towards the music program. So we are definitely thankful for such contributions. But now as we move on, Ron, also on the local scene, a link our viewers may have seen, but this link resembles a media report. It surfaced on the internet and on social media. The media report makes claims insinuating that the Premier of the Virgin Islands, Honorable Andrew A. Foy, is involved in the investment of cryptocurrency. The government of the Virgin Islands have made a statement denouncing the fake media reports. The link is designed to give the appearance that it emanates from a media house here in the Virgin Islands and bears the following headline. Special report, Andrew Foy's latest investment has the government and big banks terrified. And Ron, this is what these sort of fake news do. They put out a really interesting headline as clickbait, and the fake article portrays that the Premier of the Virgin Islands is promoting, especially to Virgin Islanders, some kind of cryptocurrency wealth loophole that is guaranteed to transform anyone into a millionaire within 3 to 4 months, among a host of other claims. Now, the Honorable Premier Andrew Foy, he said in a statement, and I quote, "The national and international community are advised that the entire purported article is a fabrication. It is fake news," he says. No such interview, as stated in the item, was conducted by the Premier, whether it be with the News 2 news case, the BBC, or any news media. All the quotes attributed to the Premier are fake and fraudulent. No such financial investment program as promoted by the fake article exists in the Virgin Islands. Premier Foy continued by saying, "Contrary to that fake report, I am not engaging in trying anything, or am I in discussions with anyone regarding cryptocurrency." The British Virgin Islands, as we know, adopted the US dollar as its currency in 1959 and have made no commitments to replace it as the official currency in any form. Now, Premier Foy, he urges members of the public to be mindful of electronic defamation. He asks persons to exercise caution as the website and the domain linked to the fake news post has characteristics that are usually associated with online scams that can affect computer and mobile phones with viruses and other malware. And these malicious softwares can lead to theft of data such as personal photos, friends and business associates, contact information from your electronic address book, banking information, and so much more. And really and truly, Ron, the consequences of clicking on such links could definitely be devastating. So here is the government of the Virgin Islands really saying, look out for these type of things. These are not the sort of things you want to click on.
I'm happy to see the Honorable Premier come to the forefront and particularly with this issue, speak about it. We'll continue to deliver honest and impartial news. Still ahead, John Samuel, appointed director, and the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force is seeking the assistance of the public to locate a missing man, Mr. Junior Peters. All this and more after a word from our sponsors. You're watching 284 News.
I love you, Penny. Run, Forrest, run!
Moved.
Man, I'm sick of being in this house. I just want to go to the beach, go just one day, and gather, just gather. I'm sick of being in this house.
Having withdrawals from being stuck in the house for so long? Are you tired of looking at your old photos and daydreaming about your next vacation? Well, BVI Staycation is back, and there's so much to choose from. For more information on upcoming deals, follow us on Facebook at BVI Staycation. Get ready, BVI, for an adventure in paradise. It's time to vacation where we live.
Viewers, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Continuing on the local scene, Mr. John Samuel has been appointed Director of the Virgin Islands Shipping Registry for a period of 1 year. Mr. Samuel's appointment took effective on July 1st following approval by His Excellency the Governor Augustus J.U. Jaspert in accordance with Section 92(1) of the Virgin Islands Constitution and on the advice of the Public Service Commission. Now, as Director, Mr. Samuel will serve as a Chief Advisor to the government on matters relating to the Virgin Islands Shipping Registry and will lead the department and provide guidance and support to ensure all survey-related matters are dealt with and met with the established industry standards. He will also develop and present a forum strategy for the modernization of the department, a reform strategy, for the modernization of the department, in line, of course, with successful industry models, and will streamline and improve its international processes, as well as the public and private sector interface necessary for continued effectiveness. Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of the Premier's office, Dr. Carolyn O'Neill Morton, said she welcomes Mr. Samuel, who has the experience and expertise needed in moving the Virgin Islands shipping registry forward in the new regular, living and working with COVID-19. P.S. O'Neill Morton said, and I quote, "Government of the Virgin Islands continues to place great emphasis on introducing, amending, and updating the necessary pieces of maritime legislation to ensure, of course, that the territory maintains its Category 1 shipping status to continue registering large ships under the International Maritime Conventions." She further explained that Mr. Samuel brings a wealth of knowledge and experience to the post, having served in both the public and private sectors at various levels. She added that his skills are critical as the territory is scheduled to undergo its number 3 code audit by the Red Ensign Maritime Authority. Now, he currently serves as the chairman of the H. Laverty Style Community College. That's Mr. John Samuel. And previously, he acted as interim managing director of the BVI Ports Authority. Mr. Samuels was the director of shipping registry of the Virgin Islands between the period of 2012 to 2015, and held the post of acting permanent secretary in the Ministry of Communications and Works from 2007 to 2009. He served as deputy permanent secretary in the same ministries from 2004 to 2007 and worked for the BVI Ports Authority as a maritime officer and then as a maritime supervisor from 1991 to 1999. Mr. Samuel taught advanced navigation at the H. Laverty Style Community College, and he is a trainee pilot for both Tortola Pilots Courier Co. Limited and the Castries Pilots in St. Lucia Airline and Seaports Authority before advancing to the senior pilot at Tortola Pilots. Now, he is a certified international safety management auditor, maritime security officer, and authorized surveyor for small commercial crafts by the United Kingdom Maritime and Coast Guard Agency and ABS Consulting. Mr. Samuel is a certified marine inspector by the United States Coast Guard Marine Safety School and received an unrestricted pilot's license from the British Virgin Islands Ports Authority. The Virgin Islands Shipping Registry seeks to ensure that the Virgin Islands ships can safely, securely, and effectively enjoy freedom, the seas, and the support of a vigorous and effective maritime administration. You could not have selected a more qualified person in the person of Mr. John Samuel for that position.
What
and
an
we wish him well.
extensive resume Dr. Samuels have
Yes.
there. We do want to wish him all the best in this post, and I'm sure, as we see thus far, that he will do that post justice.
Maybe you're speaking something into existence because he doesn't have a PhD, but hey, maybe something's coming. Yeah.
With such resume, he might as well be.
Indeed.
But on a more devastating note, earlier this week we reported on a missing person, Mr. Junior Peters. Detectives from the Major Crime Investigations Team are seeking the public's assistance in locating 50-year-old Mr. Junior Peters. Mr. Peters is a Jamaican national residing at Carrot Bay who was last seen around 4 p.m. on Saturday, June 27, 2020 at Horse Pat. His disappearance is out of character and there is serious concerns for his welfare. The circumstances of his disappearance are that on the day in question, the individual was engaged in landscaping activity at a private residence in Horse Park between 2:45 p.m. and 4 p.m. Witnesses reported seeing Mr. Peters sitting on a large rock just outside the residence. The next day, the victim's tools and machine used for landscaping was met in the same location as the day before. Then on Monday, the tools were seen in the same location along with the pruned vegetation, which drew the suspicion of the tenants of the said building. This prompted an immediate search of the area where personal items of Mr. Peters was then found. The police were summoned and immediately processed the scene and searched around the premises, but regretfully, he was not found. The following day have involved several searches around the Hospat residence by police, fire, Visor, the governor's office, search and cadaver dogs, and volunteers, but same has proven futile. House-to-house inquiries were also conducted in neighboring communities, but to date, unfortunately, we are reporting that no results thus far. Police are further appealing to anyone who have any information pertaining to Mr. Peters' disappearance to contact the detective inspector directly at 368-9809. That is 368-9809, or the Major Crime Investigation Team at 368-5682. Police are also asking for anyone residing in the general area of Z King radio station to check around your premises to see if Mr. Peters would have sought shelter on their property based on possible injuries. Of course, all information will be treated with the strictest confidence.
Quite a devastating story, Carla, as it always is when someone is missing. But I have some concerns, and I must admit, between the time that the person in question, Mr. Junior Peters, was reported missing, I did some investigation, and I had to do some investigation because I was surprised to see the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force only now, which is last night, issuing a statement, and then today I'm now seeing a missing persons flyer. So I was curious, and I did inquire with them, what is the time frame between when a person is missing or reported missing until an actual report is filed and you actually alert the public? And the spokeswoman for the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force confirmed by saying that these circumstances are varied. So it's no particular time frame, nothing is set in stone. It all depends on the circumstances surrounding, that person being disappeared. And I'm kind of puzzled by that because I think there should be some time frame, specific time frame, like in the United States where there's a 48-hour period before you can actually report. But to only now be seeing a missing persons report and to only now be receiving an official statement from the Virgin Islands Police Force, whether or not they were doing investigations prior to, I believe that they have been doing their investigations and the search has been ongoing all this time. But to only now be receiving official report and a missing persons flyer, I think is unacceptable. But they're continuing to do their job, so we support them in their efforts, and we do wish the safe return and appeals to persons to whatever
with
information
any
they
information
have. Yes.
To just reach out to the Royal Virgin Islands Police Force and with any information that you do have. But viewers, still ahead, the communications team recognized as COVID-19 heroes, and Puerto Rico reopens for tourism on July 15th. You don't want to miss this. This is 284 News. We will be right back.
Father Jesus, that line here long like church service.
Alright, do enjoy the rest of the day. Next customer line, please. Wait, hold on a second.
Yes, Sonny boy, come, yes, son.
Good morning.
Good morning, Sonny boy. Hold on there. You must have cut front of people.
It's okay, I'll take care of it.
What? No man forget you.
How may I assist you? You want top of power?
You want top of power?
Join the prepaid party with CCT and enjoy more affordable data plans, more top-up promotions, more savings with hero bundles, and more value for your money each and every Tuesday with Top Up Turn Up Tuesday. Visit a CCT store today or anywhere CCT Top Up is sold and top up your phone.
5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You want top of power?
Hi guys, welcome back. You're watching 284 News. Continuing on the local scene, the Department of Information and Public Relations and individual team members who form the Joint Information Cell, JIC, are being recognized for their exemplary and stellar performance as the COVID-19 Heroes recognitions continue this week. Now, this combined team of communication professionals who provide services to ministries and departments, also known as the Government Information Services, or GIS, is regarded as the bloodline or heartbeat of the government of the Virgin Islands and is tasked with ensuring that government initiatives are shared with the public and media locally, regionally, and internationally. Now, this set of COVID-19 heroes is the third group to be recognized since the launch of the program by the Department of Human Resources. The group was acknowledged for disseminating information around the clock in a timely manner, packaging the information in a variety of ways, including video, e-flyers, and audio for every demographic to benefit from the information. Director of Communications, Mrs. Arlene T. Penn, who is also a member of the Health Emergency Operations Center along with the Unified Command Center and serves as the advisor to the Communications and Public Relations team, stated that she was pleased with her team in being recognized and chosen as COVID-19 heroes. Now, this statement comes as no surprise. She said, and I quote, "I work with a team of professionals who are creative, innovative, and dedicated. I am extremely excited for the recognition given to the team who continues to go the extra mile to ensure that the public is aware of COVID-19. Now, very often together we have worked until wee hours in the morning to ensure the public's access to constant information." Mrs. Penn further added by saying the team rose to the occasion. You think it, they created it and executed it. They are heroes all the time, so I am indeed excited for their success as part of the COVID-19 Heroes list. Their success is what brings me ultimate gratification in leading the team. I thank the families of each person for supporting them as they worked diligently to meet the demands and deadlines for information. The Director of Communications said she appreciates and applauds the team and looks forward to their continued support in taking communications to the next level. She further thanked the Employee Assistance Program committee members for the vote of confidence. Now, the Joint Information Cell was established under the leadership of the Ministry of Health and Social Development's Public Health Communications Specialist to provide the public with daily COVID-19 messages with the support of the Director of Communications, Chief Information Officer, and Ministerial Statutory Body Information Communications Officer, and the Department of Information and Public Relations. Individuals' recognition were extended to the Communications Specialist at the Ministry of Health and Social Development and Head of GIC, Miss Adriana Sawaral, Graphic Artist Mr. Jahai Maduru, Interim Production Supervisor Mr. Dorian Hodge, and Production Technician Mr. Glenn Cherubim for going the extra mile in work environment, which consists of really fast-paced, quick turnaround of information with minimal margin for error, which we know quite a lot about here at 284 Media, Kyla. Now, Chief Information Officer Miss Desiree Smith added her voice in extolling the value of GIS honorees. Ms. Smith said, and I quote, "I am very pleased to see this group of talented professionals be recognized in this way for the significant contribution they make to the public service, and even more so during the critical time in the history of the Virgin Islands and the world. It is truly gratifying for me to work in such close proximity to such expert and committed officers. I am truly proud to be a part of this team. Nominations continue and persons can complete the form by visiting bvi.gov.vg, and then you can also electronically send them to eru@gov.vg.com. That's the email address. The COVID-19 Public Service Heroes will be posted on various platforms, including the Government of the Virgin Islands website at bvi.gov.vg or its Facebook page at BVI Government. Honorees will also receive a written commendation. The Department of Human Resources thanks all public officers, particularly those who have been on the front line and behind the scenes providing essential services during all stages of COVID-19 pandemic. Noteworthy honor. Congratulations to the team at GIS. They do a lot of great work, hard work, and COVID-19 is not an easy time, but they continue to keep all stakeholders informed as it pertains to the government of the Virgin Islands and the business of the government.
Ron, I am glad that we were able to know the names and know those persons who are part of the joint information, that unit, because I know it was hard during COVID-19 and lockdown, but we must say and we must recognize our public officers who were there at every beat. Miss Adriana Savarol, she did an awesome job and continued to do an awesome job on COVID-19 updates. It definitely was something new, and for our information officers, it must have been a really stressful time, but they definitely hold the fort down, and congratulations to them. Now over in Puerto Rico. Now Puerto Rico will have some stringent new rules for persons traveling to the island amid the coronavirus pandemic. Governor Wanda Vasquez said she will sign an executive order that, among other things, will require visitors to provide a negative COVID-19 test result produced within 72 hours of arrival. She said, and I quote, "I want Puerto Ricans living in the U.S. mainland to safely come to our island and visit their family members without fear of spreading this virus or infecting a loved one." Vasquez said in a statement, "I want tourists and everyone visiting Puerto Rico to feel safe." Under the executive order, visitors would also need to wear face coverings and observe proper social distancing measures at the country's 3 airports. The governor said that the order will go into effect on July 15th when the country is reopened for tourism. The order will also state that if a visitor is unable to bring a negative test result, they will be required to go through the screening process and further tests at the airport and follow quarantine procedures. There will be exemptions for aviation mechanics, flight crew members, activated military, federal agents, and other authorized by the Secretary of Health may be excluded from tests and quarantine. However, everyone must complete the travel declaration for proper follow-up and monitoring by the Department of Health over in Puerto Rico and comply with protocols and requests for information. Now, a quote from the governor said, and I quote, "As we move forward with the orderly and safe reopening of our economy, we will continue to implement the necessary measures to avoid the spread of this virus." Tourism, as we know, is one of Puerto Rico's leading industries, and officials say it's their priority to ensure there are protections in place for tourists and residents during the pandemic. "I want our island prepared as we continue to face this new COVID-19 reality," Vasquez said.
Governor Vasquez is doing trying her best.
She's definitely trying her
doing
best.
her best, and we're happy to see Puerto Rico trying to, open to tourists.
Of course, it's not
amidst it.
foolproof with 72 hours before. Of course, unfortunately, one can catch the virus within that time. Even traveling to countries, persons can catch the virus. But I think Caribbean countries and islands are really trying their best to find some way to open back their borders and get their economy back up and running, because as we know and mentioned in the story, tourism is the bread and butter for a lot of Caribbean countries.
It's interesting how hospitality has really governed and charted the way for our Caribbean islands, not only with work, but persons. And I could only attribute it to our beautiful spirit and our beautiful shores and our just love for people, the fact that we've been doing so well in tourism. And I know it's a resilient industry, and we hope that it will be just as beneficial and successful for us in moving forward. But we have to put in the work, and we see where Puerto Rico is doing their best to put in the work.
Most definitely. But guess what, viewers? That is it for today's news roundup. Make sure you visit us at Facebook, on Facebook at 284 Media and 284 BVI on Instagram as well as Twitter. I am Kyla Kenesha Forbes.
And I'm Ron Grant. We will see you again on Monday as we deliver your daily dose of local, regional, and international content. Feel free to check our website over the weekend as we do keep you posted on daily happenings all across the region. We are 284 News, your source for honest and impartial news, and it is always an honor and privilege to bring you your daily updates. I want you guys to have a great, and I mean great Friday. Enjoy yourselves, enjoy your weekend, go check out the beach, and we live in paradise, so try to enjoy it.
Most definitely.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So you're saying I can ask this cat any question?
The cat is connected to the computer. You just type in the question, it will read his mind. There the answer comes.
You're the man! I've been looking for this for weeks.